Every December, Europe celebrates Christmas as a season of generosity, faith, and joy. Church bells ring, candles glow, gifts are exchanged. But when finance meets history, the story of Christmas looks very different. Because long before credit cards, central banks, or holiday shopping sprees, Christmas was once the most financially dangerous time of the year in Europe. Not because of war, not because of plague, not because of invasion, but because Christmas functioned as a continental financial deadline. In the Middle Ages, Christmas wasn't just a religious celebration. It was the moment when debts were called in, taxes were demanded, rents were enforced, and loyalty was measured in money. Medieval records from England, France, the Holy Roman Empire, and the Italian city-states reveal a chilling pattern. Entire communities collapsing under debt in December, kings scrambling for cash, currency shortages spreading across regions, and unrest erupting immediately after the holidays. So how did a holy festival nearly bankrupt Europe? Why did a celebration meant to honor salvation become an economic stress test? And when finance meets history, why do we keep seeing the same financial mistakes repeated, century after century, just wrapped in better lighting and bigger promises? To answer that, we must travel back to a Europe where money was scarce, faith ruled law, and Christmas could decide whether you survived the winter or lost everything. To understand how Christmas became financially dangerous, we need to abandon modern assumptions about money. Medieval Europe was not a cash economy. It was a world where coins were rare, trade was slow, credit was personal, and liquidity was almost non-existent. Most people never handled money daily. Many peasants saw coins only once or twice a year. Instead, Europe ran on obligation. Rent was paid in grain. Taxes were paid in labor. Debts were remembered by witnesses, not contracts. Money existed, but it moved slowly, pooled in the hands of kings, nobles, monasteries, and merchants. This created a fragile system. As long as payments were staggered, Europe survived. But when obligations synchronized, when everyone demanded payment at the same time, the system cracked. And nothing synchronized medieval obligations like Christmas. Christmas was sacred, and in medieval Europe, sacred time controlled legal time. Religious authority over economics, the church defined the calendar. When debts could be enforced, when contracts expired, when obligations were morally binding, Christmas symbolized completion, judgment, renewal, which made it the perfect moment to settle accounts. Across Europe, Christmas became the default due date for annual rents, feudal dues, royal taxes, church tithes. If you owed money, land, grain, or loyalty, Christmas was when you paid. And missing that deadline wasn't just illegal, it was sinful. In the Middle Ages, debt wasn't neutral. It was moralized. To owe money meant you lacked discipline, you lacked honor, you lacked faith. Failure to repay could result in social humiliation, loss of land, prison, or excommunication. So people borrowed, not recklessly, but desperately. A bad harvest, a sick child, a failed trade. Loans filled the gap. But they all pointed to the same moment in time: Christmas. Christian doctrine banned usury, charging interest. But economies cannot function without credit. So lending fell to those outside the church's protection, primarily Jewish communities. Jewish moneylenders became essential, financing peasants, funding merchants, lending to nobles, even advancing money to kings. By the 12th and 13th centuries, Europe was quietly running on seasonal credit. Borrow during the year, repay at Christmas. At first, it worked. Then scale destroyed it. Christian doctrine banned usury, charging interest. But economies cannot function without credit. So lending fell to those outside the church's protection, primarily Jewish communities. Jewish moneylenders became essential, financing peasants, funding merchants, lending to nobles, even advancing money to kings. By the 12th and 13th centuries, Europe was quietly running on seasonal credit. Borrow during the year, repay at Christmas. At first, it worked. Then scale destroyed it. When debts were enforced in winter, people had no options. No harvest, no work, no trade, so they resisted. Many medieval revolts didn't begin in spring. They began after Christmas, because that's when land was seized, families were evicted, debtors were jailed, faith collided with survival. And survival usually won. Kings reduced silver and coins to create more money. Short-term relief. Long-term disaster. Inflation rose. Trust collapsed. Next Christmas was worse. Debt extensions, temporary relief delayed collapse, but increased total debt. Christmas pressure intensified. Moral campaigns, the church urged moderation. But social pressure demanded feasts, gifts, and generosity. Culture overpowered economics. Out of repeated failure came innovation. Italian merchants developed bills of exchange, spread payment schedules, non-seasonal settlements, banking families like the Medici learned a critical lesson. Never let obligations concentrate at one point in time. Christmas quietly reshaped modern finance. Today, December still behaves like medieval Christmas. Consumer debt spikes. Government spending surges, liquidity tightens. Financial stress rises. Different tools, same psychology. We haven't escaped the cycle. We've scaled it. Takeaway 1. Financial systems break when everyone must pay at once. Takeaway 2. Tradition can override logic, even when the cost is collapse. Takeaway 3. Debt never disappears. It concentrates, then explodes. Christmas almost bankrupted medieval Europe, not because people were greedy, but because systems ignored human behavior under pressure. And today, we are doing the same thing. Bigger numbers, faster money, same mistakes. When finance meets history, the past doesn't warn us quietly. It warns us loudly. If you want more stories where money, power, and history collide, subscribe to Finance Meets History. Because history isn't over. It's just waiting for its next due date.